Great, but so as you talk about plans on the other side, it was this president's plans that contributed to inflation, right?
No, it was not. It was this president's plan. If we talk about the American Rescue Plan, look, Peter, when the president walked into this administration, there was an economic crisis, there was a COVID crisis, there was a climate change crisis, and we're still dealing with a lot of that right now. But the president turned the economy back on. There were businesses that were closed, schools that were closed, and because of the American Rescue Plan, by the way, no Republican voted for that plan, and that plan had $350 billion for public safety, another thing that Republicans talk about, but they actually don't do, and they don't push forward on a policy that will help our law enforcement. That plan helped put us in a stronger labor market and help make our economy stronger. And so that is what is happening. It is not the president that has created inflation. There are also outside factors that has led us to where we are today.
If things are going so great, though, then why is it the White House officials are trying to redefine recession?
No, we're not redefining recession.
If we all understand a recession to be 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth in a row, and then you have White House officials come up here to say, no, that's not what a recession is. It's something else. How is that not redefining recession?
Because that's not the definition. That is not the definition.
Brian Deese said in 2008, of course, economists have a technical definition, which is of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth.
I can tell you this.
Yesterday he said 2 negative quarters of GDP growth is not the technical definition of a recession.
It is
What
not.
changed?
It is not.
Why did he say that
It
was?
is not.
What's the difference
I can speak to what he said yesterday in front of all of you, which is the last thing that you just repeated. There are many factors. Economic factors and indicators to consider, and I will say that the textbook definition of recession is not 2 negative quarters of GDP. We have a strong labor market. We have business that's investing. We have consumers that are also very much investing and purchasing. That is incredibly important. We have 3.6 unemployment. You do not see that in a pre-recession, and you do not see that in a recession. So the factors that we are seeing right now, the economic indicators, does not show that we're in recession. And I'll read, since you gave me some quotes, I'll give you some as well. In 2009, the St. Louis Fed said, while the popular definition of recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative real gross domestic product GDP growth, the NBER, which we have mentioned many times in this room, does not strictly abide by this designation. Instead, the committee broadly defines a recession as a significant decline in economic activity spreading across the economy, lasting more than a few months. NBER has been around since 1920. I'm going to move on. Okay.
To follow up on the economy, is it a risk for President Biden to say that he does not think the United States is going to be in a recession? And does the White House have any concerns that it will look misguided if the U.S. does enter a recession?
So, the second part is, speculation right now, and the answer to your first part is no, because we're looking at the facts. We're looking at the other economic indicators, the strong labor market, as I just listed out. We had 21 states last week where we saw unemployment was at 3% or lower. So everything that we are seeing currently right now does not show that we are in a recession, and that is just the facts. And it's not just us saying that. You have economic experts who have said this. I just laid out a couple of outlets who have said this as well. And so there is not, and I'm happy to list more economic folks who have said this as well. Citigroup's Jane Fraser, little of the data I see tells me the U.S. is on the cusp of a recession. Moody's Analytics, Mark Zandi, I still have no recession in my forecast, and job numbers are growing are incongruous with fears that recession is dead ahead. And so that matters too. So it's not just us saying this, there are other experts as well who have weighed in on this.
And just ahead of tomorrow, given there is so much talk about is there not a recession, I asked this the other day, I just want to follow up. Is there a White House definition of what a recession looks like?
We have have talked about the National Bureau of Economic Research. They have the textbook definition of what that looks like. They look at it more broadly, as I just laid out, and so that's what we